Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out to hear some new product from Sloan Valve. My name is Casey Devlin. I'm with J.B. O'Connor Company. We have all met before. If you don't know that J.B. O'Connor is the Sloan Rep for Western Pennsylvania and West Virginia. We're your first line of defense for customer service, technical, field support, anything you guys need. Sloan has introduced about 4 different products that I'm going to review today with you and your sales team. We're going to go through probably the least exciting through the most exciting in that order, and we'll get started with that. I'm going to pass these 3 out. I only had a couple of these. This is Sloan's new flow restrictor that they are putting into all of their high efficiency urinals, from 1/8 of a gallon to 1/4 gallon and 1/2 gallon. Sloan is the only one still out there with a 1/4 gallon, so we like to push that with facilities. 1/8 and 1/2 everybody has, but the 1/4 we feel is a nice niche. A lot of facilities don't feel that 1/8 of a gallon is enough water, especially with old buildings. So we still, I push with the architects and engineers to use 1/4 gallon as much as possible. New construction, 1/8 gallon is okay. New piping, new water lines, everything, that's not a problem. You can see here up on the screen where they are putting a new flow restrictor in these low flow fixtures. The reason for this is due to certain pressures in buildings. When you're talking 1/8 of a gallon of water, we are only opening and closing a diaphragm very quickly. So if we are getting 60, 70 plus pounds into a building, that diaphragm was not able to open and close as quickly and as accurately. It was doing its job, but we felt that it wasn't as accurate as it could be. So Sloan is putting this flow restrictor inside of the tailpiece, in between the control stop and the valve body. They have included this in every box of low flow valves, since 2012. But the installer, I don't feel knew what this was. So they were probably just getting thrown away. The valve was not performing as it should. So Sloan has made this change. It will be in every valve now. You can see by just seeing it there, the O-ring is the seal. It pushes in toward the valve body, and there's just a very small hole opening to allow the amount of water that we feel necessary for that diaphragm to act as engineered. Again, 1/8 of a gallon, 1/4 of a gallon, very small amounts of water. We need to restrict it before it just goes and hits the diaphragm so that the diaphragm can work properly. Again, now installed in every valve. That is a repair part. It's an H607 part. So if it's lost or whatever, or if it was not included in the box, it is a separate item and SKU that can be ordered. Again, there's a lot of valves out there. 1/8 of a gallon has been out for 5 years now. There's a lot of valves out there. If a customer is saying this thing is not working properly, they may just order a new diaphragm from you. You may want to offer this with the low flow as well, and explain why you need to slow the water down and restrict it prior to hitting that diaphragm. Any questions on the new flow restrictor that's now in there? Again, it was included in every box since 2012. It's something that Sloan recognized was an issue with their diaphragm. But again, all we're doing now is actually installing it at the factory before it goes out into the field.
I have a question. So that comes with the low consumption valves.
Correct.
What if you have a higher volume valve that you want to cut back on the flow? Can you just insert that?
Correct. Yes, you can just insert this. Very good question. A lot of 3.5 gallon urinals. This is only urinals as well. So we're not talking the low flow closets right now. The urinals, there are 3.5 gallon urinals. There's 1.5. There's 1.0 out there. Obviously, the valve body, the handle, the vacuum breaker, none of that has changed over the years. We can still retrofit and drop a new diaphragm into that valve. If they're going to go from 1/2 gallon and less, we would recommend you purchasing an H607 with your new diaphragm kit. Very good question. Yeah, so for retrofit purposes, and that's why it is a sellable part. But again, their testing has shown that in order to maintain the accuracy of that flush volume, that's their number one goal. If we say it's 1/8 of a gallon, which is 0.125 gallons, Sloan wants to hit it exactly at 0.125. And depending on building pressures, You know, you get on a 30-story high-rise downtown where they have booster pumps, we can see some excessive pressure at those floors. That's when we were noticing that 0.125 was all over the place. So we had to come up with something. Their engineers came up with this flow restrictor before the diaphragm kicked in. We needed to slow the water down. So yeah, 1.0 and up, no flow restrictor necessary.